My marriage came a bit late in my life. Work kept me busy, and I also had to care for my mother, who unfortunately developed early onset Alzheimer's, so marriage was out of the question. My father probably grew weary from taking care of my mother, and a year after she passed away, he passed away due to a heart attack. They were a close couple, so maybe he couldn't stand to be apart from her for long. Being an only child, I was left without any close family. Even so, I was working, and I didn't feel too lonely. But still, seeing my father tirelessly care for my mother, who had dementia, made me realize that marriage is something to be admired. Fortunately, I found a connection and had the opportunity to meet a man my age, and we decided to get married as I neared 40. Our values and hobbies matched, and we thought it would be fun to live together, so we ended up getting married 6 months after meeting. His parents were happy for it, and I truly felt happy. Honestly, I had always taken for granted the words of father and a mother, calling them as such. After having lost them for so long, it was a real joy to have someone I could call my father-in-law and mother-in-law. However, my in-laws lived in a distant region, so I rarely saw them, which was a bit sad. As for having a child, my husband and I were talking about leaving it to fate even before we got married. After all, we were both nearing 40 when we got married. By the way, our child would reach adulthood, and we would be approaching retirement age. At this age, we don't even know if we'll have the stamina to have our children and raise them. Of course, if we have our children, we'll do our best to raise them, but we've casually agreed that it's okay not to push ourselves too hard to conceive, haven't we? But fate has a funny way of working out. Leaving it to fate and not making any special effort, Adam was born just a year after we married. A lively boy, we named him Adam. We wanted him to grow strong and flourish like Adam, hence the name. I worked even while pregnant, but trying to balance childcare and work was pretty hard, especially considering my age, so I thought about retiring. Thankfully, an offer came from my company. They asked me to continue working from home as a contract employee. I gratefully accepted the offer, taking it as it comes. If I could work without being tied to specific hours, I thought, why wouldn't I be able to balance childcare too? Fortunately, with my husband's help, and since Adam was a fairly easy baby, I didn't feel like raising him was all that hard. Adam grew rapidly and was 3 years old before we knew it. Once I get Adam into preschool or daycare, I might be able to return to work full-time. Just when I thought that we discovered I was pregnant with our second child. Having taken on 3 more years since giving birth to Adam, I knew this pregnancy and childbirth would be quite hard, but we couldn't take it lightly. Both my husband and I braced ourselves for the birth of our new child. The one who was most delighted about this second pregnancy was Adam, gently rubbing my belly as it gradually grew larger.
Come out soon, be born soon.
Singing to a tune, saying it. Adam seemed happy to become a big brother. For Adam, who was looking forward to it so much, I made sure not to overwork it, but also not to be too lazy, as I spent my pregnancy and welcomed the time for childbirth. The childbirth was light, and a baby boy was born following Adam. Full of vitality, we named him Kylo. It's also a name that complements that of the eldest son, Adam. Adam talked to Kylo and comforted him, showing with his attitude how happy he was to have a sibling. My husband and I smiled at their behavior, thinking they would grow up with a good relationship. But honestly, Kylo was a handful as a baby. While Adam was good with breastfeeding, weaned early, and didn't cry much at night, Kylo cried terribly at night and didn't stop crying during the day, making it hard to soothe him. He also resisted being held, so it was impossible to hold and comfort him. Working from home was becoming too much hard, so I officially retired. Then, about a year later, I began to feel that something was wrong. Even at the age of 1, Kylo still cried terribly at night and wouldn't stop once he started. He still hated being held and couldn't progress to solid foods. My husband and Adam were helping, but it wasn't enough. Taking care of Kylo day and night, I was exhausted. Fortunately, Adam was making an effort to take care of himself, understanding that I was having a tough adame. This was truly a lifesaver. And at the 18-month checkup, my fears were confirmed. The doctor told us that Kylo might have an intellectual disability.
We still don't know anything for certain. Given the current situation, there's a possibility. We can't be sure until the child reaches school age. But in Kylo's case, it seems highly likely.
The doctor said, looking sympathetic. I felt like everything went dark before my eyes. Why was Kylo diagnosed with an intellectual disability? Did I do something wrong during my pregnancy, eat something I shouldn't have, or take some wrong medicine? Or is it genetic? I instinctively confronted the doctor, but he shook his head. And then,
what matters is what's next, not the cause. Please make sure to come in for checkups. Kylo is not physically strong, so caution is necessary. I'll provide as much advice as possible, both physically and mentally. I'll also refer you to counseling.
He said to me like this. I left the hospital, holding back tears. That night, my husband and I had a serious discussion. Raising Kylo with a disability wouldn't be an easy task. First, regarding how to raise Kylo, we decided to consult with medical experts and proceed with their advice. Next, looking after Kylo while managing household chores would be both mentally and physically demanding. We discussed and decided on the division of household chores. I've retired from work, so I'll mainly take care of Kylo and handle the household chores. My husband would help as much as possible with cooking, tidying up, and cleaning.
If we team up, there's nothing we can't do.
As I said that to motivate myself, my husband also put out his fist. I too thrust out my fist, vowing to team up. But then something delightful unexpectedly happened. It was Adam who was looking forward to becoming a big brother more than anything else. Adam took great care of Kylo. He was only 4, so it's not like he could do much, but he stayed by Kylo's side, talked to him, and comforted him. He'd try his best to calm Kylo down when he cried, and if something happened, he'd come to get me. Thanks to Adam, I was able to take my eyes off Kylo for short periods. Maybe Kylo could recognize his big brother. Kylo is a 1-year-old with a disability and hardly able to speak, but the first word he uttered was. It was.
Der?
In the case of a typically developing child, they usually start saying things like dada or a yum yum around 6 months. Kylo didn't even do that. However, he was about to turn 2 years old, and he looked at Adam and said.
Dot.
He looked firmly at Adam and said it. I wonder if Kylo remembered how Adam was always saying.
I'm your big brother.
Or.
It's Big Brother Adam.
It seems that Kylo recognized Adam before he recognized us. Adam seemed quite proud.
Kylo's a good kid, huh? He knows his big brother well.
He boasted to us. Childishly, both my husband and I felt a bit jealous of Adam. Above all, Kylo, who was said to possibly have a disability, was able to recognize Adam. That fact truly made us happy. Adam eventually started elementary school and began going to school. He seemed a little unhappy about not being able to be with Kylo for long hours. He would always rush home and say to Kylo,
I'm sorry for leaving you alone. Big Brother's back. Come on, smile.
He says, talking like that. Watching that, I felt relieved from my daily fatigue. I was nothing but amazed at Adam's kindness towards his younger brother. Adam was a child who caused no problems and didn't need much attention, but there was one time in second grade when we were called to the school. He had gotten into a fight with a boy in his class, and it had turned into a scuffle. According to the children in the class, it seemed that Adam was the one who started it. The mother of Adam's opponent had also been contacted by the school and had rushed over. The teacher, including the two of us, asked the cause of the fight, but the two involved wouldn't say anything. They wouldn't tell us why the fight had started, not a single word. Usually so obedient, Adam was uncharacteristically tight-lipped, to an unbelievable extent. Adam's opponent looked a bit awkward, but he wouldn't open his mouth either. Anyway, it seemed clear that Adam was the one who started it, so I apologized first, feeling sorry for that. But then I said,
I might sound like a doting parent, but I can't believe Adam would raise his hand without reason.
I made that much clear. The homeroom teacher knows Adam as he normally is. So, he understood that Adam wasn't the kind of child to punch someone without reason. But of course, the mother of Adam's opponent didn't know about this. There was only the fact that her child had been hit. For the time being, since no one understood the reason, the gathering was disbanded. On the way home, Adam's lips were tightly sealed, and he said nothing. But the light in his eyes was strong, and I could see a determination that he hadn't done anything wrong. So, I thought I should avoid scolding him rashly. Then, later in the evening, a phone call came in. It was from the mother of Adam's opponent in fighting. Wondering what it was, I answered, and the first thing I heard was,
I'm truly sorry. It seems that my child spoke ill of Adam's little brother. They mocked him, calling him a strange kid or saying he wasn't smart enough. That's why Adam got angry. It seems that's how it went. It was 100% my child's fault for saying those things to Adam.
She apologized to me over the phone several times. I was so grateful for her understanding that all I could say was thank you. I'll contact the school myself, she assured me, and I truly appreciated it. I was also relieved that I hadn't rashly scolded Adam. But I made Adam promise one thing.
It's good that you got angry enough to flare up when Kylo was insulted. But never raise a hand. That's wrong. Promise me you'll never do it again.
Eventually, Adam became a fourth grader. Normally, Kylo would be of age to start elementary school as well. But of course, Kylo cannot become a regular elementary school student. In his current condition, unable to do anything for himself, joining the special support class at Adam's elementary school was impossible. At that time, Adam seemed completely ready to attend elementary school with Kylo. He seemed to have dreamed of walking hand in hand to school together. So when my husband and I told him that Kylo couldn't go to the same school, he yelled that it was a lie.
But Kylo is 3 years younger than me. So, he should be in first grade this year, right?
But we explained that, given Kylo's current condition, he simply couldn't attend the same school. He needed to enroll in another special school, we told him. We didn't want to say it, but we also explained about bullying. With Kylo's current condition, if he attended a regular school, he might be bullied, we said. Adam shook his head stubbornly.
We'll go to school together every day. We'll come back home together too. If Kylo is about to be bullied, I'll protect him. Of course, I won't fight, I'll protect him. So, I want to go to school together. We'll go together, right, Kylo?
With tears in his eyes, Adam spoke, and Kylo could only tilt his head, but even though he didn't understand the meaning, he must have sensed Adam's kindness towards him. He smiled brightly. Neither my husband nor I could find any more words to say. We just silently embraced Adam and Kylo, but Adam, probably not satisfied, shook off my arm and went up to his room. My husband and I were on the verge of tears, half in sadness and half in joy. The sorrow of not being able to send Kylo and Adam to school together was real. But the joy of Adam's love for Kylo, and the love for Kylo who felt that affection even with her disabilities, outweighed the sorrow. What wonderful children they are. The next morning, Adam came downstairs with red, tear-swollen eyes. He turned to us and said,
"If Kylo is going to be bullied, I'll give up on going to school with him. So please, make sure to send Kylo to a school where there are no bullies."
It must have been the result of a night spent thinking. Adam, still in the 4th grade, had desperately come up with the best solution for Kylo. I swore to Adam that I would send Kylo to a good school. After that, Kylo enrolled in a special needs school but passed away at just 10 years old. Kylo was not strong, either in body nor in mind. The doctor had told us at a regular checkup that he might not make it to middle school. But Kylo lived on earnestly, and Adam was always by his side. Until the very end, Adam held Kylo's hand, and Kylo held back. Now a college student, Adam is studying welfare, wanting to create a world where he can support children like Kylo even more.
I'll make a world where children like Kylo are never bullied. I want to make it a more livable world for them.
Every day, Adam prays for a picture of Kylo, speaking those words.